I asked my wife to refuse financial help from her sister. Story. My pregnant wife, 26F and I, 35 me, are really struggling at the moment as I lost my job and my wife had to quit her job as she's suffering from hyperemesis gravidarum. We've used up our savings and currently are living off our credit cards, but I've got a job lined up starting in March. My wife is very close to her sister, 31F, and a few days ago she confided in her that we are struggling. Her sister has never liked me, but has always been polite to me. She has always kept me at arm's length, despite my attempts at trying to foster a warmer relationship. A few days ago, my sister-in-law came to visit while I was away, and she was appalled at the state of the house and the lack of baby supplies, as the baby room was bare bones and we hadn't bought many baby things. When I arrived back home, she had given me a lecture on taking better care of her sister and scolded me for not getting ready for the baby. The next day, she came back and she had bought things for the house and the baby. My wife also told her that we had to sell her car to pay off some bills and rent. Again, my sister-in-law had to show off, and she bought her a car, and to top it all off on Sunday, she sent her $50K and then texted her this. This is your money and your baby's. Do not use it on that man. If you need more, tell me and I'll send more. And remember, wherever I am, there's a home for you. I feel like her sister is trying to make me look like a failure, and I expressed that to my wife. My wife and I argued, and in a fit of anger, my wife said that I only feel like a failure because I've been failing. She has apologized since, but I still stand by telling her to return everything, as I feel like accepting her sister's so-called generosity is a way to manipulate my wife into thinking I'm a bad husband. So was I a bad husband? Response 1. You're the a-hole. What sort of a husband are you if you want your wife to be without a safety net for her and your child just because it bruises your ego that you cannot support them well enough? I understand that losing your job can be difficult, but you know what is more difficult? Being pregnant and expecting a child without any sort of financial security. Her sister is generous and caring for her. She doesn't care for you, but you know what? You are not giving her many reasons why she should with this behavior. You are literally putting yourself a priority over your pregnant wife and future child. She is not manipulating your wife into thinking you are a bad husband. You are acting like one. Reply 1. Dude needs to humble himself, swallow his pride, and tell the sister he's grateful for her help. He knows he doesn't look good in her eyes, but he's trying to do better, if he's actually trying to be a better man. Asking his wife to return everything when they need it, when that baby needs it, is such a macho beast attitude. Reply 2. Agreed. I think it might go a long way to reach out to the sister and tell her that he understands the gifts and money aren't for him or to be used on him, but that he's grateful she is there to help support and provide a safety net for his wife during their financial crisis, and certainly thank her for the gifts of items for the home and baby, genuinely. I doubt OP can swallow his pride long enough to choke any of that out, though, so you're the a-hole, OP, for caring more about what she thinks than what actually matters here. The failure is solidified by your inappropriate reaction to the situation, unfortunately. Reply 3. Omitted the fact that he hasn't been employed in over 2 years. I'm sure that there is little faith in his ability to actually keep the new job, and the sister is just trying to ensure his wife doesn't get dragged down by the dead weight she's been carrying for years. The fact that he's demanding she return speaks volumes about his other behavior in the marriage. He doesn't have too much pride to let his wife support him, but blames pride for his resentment of this generous gesture. I think he's actually just pissed that he can't use the money himself and is playing the childish game of, if I can't have it, you can't either. I think you're the a-hole is just focused on his current behavior. YA, you're an a-hole, seems more accurate. Hopefully the wife has a good head on her shoulders and tells him to back off with the controlling, selfish behavior, along with refusing to allow him access to spend the money on himself. I've got a friend with a perpetually unemployed husband who became extremely abusive, seemingly as a means to regain some feeling of control when he had very little as a result of his own preference for video games and overworking, ever. Hopefully, the impending lack of assistance with the newborn is the straw that breaks the camel's back, and she bails on this guy in the near future. Sounds like the house was probably in a bad state beyond just the lack of baby stuff, likely because his wife has been unwell and he's not helping with domestic upkeep. He'll probably avoid child support, but she'll still be better off raising one baby instead of 2. Blows my mind when people come to this sub thinking they'll find validation, exposing a lack of self-awareness and behavior that points to a narcissistic personality. Making everything about him and his image is just another symptom. If this guy has any sense at all, he'll call the sister, thank her profusely, and offer to do his best to pay her back. Response 2. You're the a-hole. Time to put your ego aside and accept help because you need it. The sister is helping her family, not trying to make you look bad. You don't need anyone else to do that for you. You're doing a great job at making yourself look bad without her help. Reply 1. OP was dating a 21-year-old at 30, married her at 24, got her pregnant at 26, and she's been the main breadwinner for the last 2 years because OP has had mental health issues and hasn't worked since he was 32-33, and she used part of her money to pay off his debts, and he has no savings but refuses to accept any kind of safety net for his wife and child, despite the fact that they literally have a bare-bones room and are not ready for this child. And yet, he still has the nerve to ask if he's TA. Yes, you're the a-hole. Massively. Reply 2. This is it right here. I can't believe he typed all that out and didn't hear it. JFC, that poor woman. Her poor family too. I can't imagine watching someone I love attach themselves to a man like this. Reply 3. Exactly. Some very dumb commenter up the thread is insulting people who don't have empathy for OP, while going on and on about what would happen if OP was a woman, obviously because stupid a-holes are predictable and need the most attention, with no mention of anyone else in the story. All empathy should go to OP's wife, who is worried sick about her baby and needs a bit of security for said baby, and her poor sweet sister, who is worried sick about her sister and the baby. OP, a clearly abusive a-hole, is really not a candidate for empathy. I understand that you're not meant to deserve or not deserve empathy. I get to give it out because of my generosity of spirit, but I don't see how there's space in this world to empathize with OP. There should be limitless empathy in the world, but OP should also be alone forever. This isn't a just or sensible or fair or decent world. Response 3. You're the a-hole. I'm saying this because this is about your child, not you. You have plenty of time starting in March to show your sister-in-law that you can support your family. You need this money. Don't let pride get in the way of that. Yes, your sister-in-law doesn't like you. So what? Telling your wife to return the money just adds to the list of why. I imagine your wife is so much less stressed, and that's what matters right now. Reply 1. How awfully stressful to be pregnant and struggling. OP should be grateful for the help of his family. And until he starts that new job, he should work on making the baby's room all cute and ready. I'm sure that would earn him some respect from his wife and sister-in-law. Reply 2. And when the time is right and you are able to, return the favor, all the cash and prizes, with a thankful heart. Yes, you have been failing, but you know what? We all do sometimes. You're not a failure until you stop trying. Response 4. You're the a-hole for caring more about how you are perceived more than what your wife and baby need, and for writing a completely unbelievable story. Reply 1. If he cared enough, he would have started doing Uber to support his family until March. Reply 2. That's definitely the case. When I lost my job, to make ends meet, I did overnight food deliveries and combed Craigslist for any gigs ranging from day labor to manual driving instructor. It's what helped me make ends meet until I found another job. It was extremely humbling, given I have a master's degree. He clearly doesn't understand what it means to be a man. A man swallows his pride and does whatever it takes to put food on the table and a roof over their head. Reply 3. I'm pregnant with twins and work a physical job. My husband told me as soon as I need to stop working, if we can't make it work on his full-time job, he'll do Uber, cut grass, work at a fast food restaurant, whatever it takes to make sure we're taken care of. When I read he had a job lined up for March, that was a red flag for me. He's okay with waiting a whole 6 weeks. Don't get your first paycheck until 2 to 3 weeks after you start at most places? Nah. Response 5. You're the a-hole if you make your wife return everything. Good for you for having a job lined up for March. However, this is Feb. What are you doing in the meantime for income? DoorDash? McDonald's? Walmart cashier? What? Saying you're a failure is harsh. However, from your post it appears that you haven't stepped up as the only provider for the family, and you need to. Once the baby arrives, there are no givebacks and a baby's needs come first. IMO, your sister-in-law was being very kind in not only providing things for the baby and the house, which you hadn't, but also in providing transportation and money. Instead of trying to find fault with your sister-in-law, perhaps you should be writing her a sincere thank you letter for stepping up and providing when you can't. Reply 1. Sister-in-law was grateful for giving them what they needed, but she was still the a-hole in how she did it. She could have given the wife the money without insulting him and trying to get the wife to leave him. Reply 2. This story does not sound like the sister-in-law was trying to make her leave. She stated the money was for her and the baby, not him. That's not trying to get her to leave her sister, looking out for her sister when her husband is failing to provide. Bro has a job lined up in March, it's February, and they've had to sell things to pay bills, meaning he's been out of work for a while. This is absurd because there are plenty of other things he could have been doing for work while he searches for something better. He's seriously going to go another month and a half, at least, with no income, and he's mad. Someone is helping them? Bro needs to grow up. Under no circumstances is it okay to be jobless for months on end when you have a child on the way and are the financial support for said child and the woman growing it. I don't care how big your pride is, you can work at McDonald's. Response 6. Yes, make her return everything. I mean, why not? It's not like you have no money. It's not like your wife had to sell her car. It's not like the nursery was bare. It's not like the house was a mess. Do you have HG too? What's preventing you from cleaning? It's not like you were completely unprepared for the arrival of a child. It's not like you lost your job at the worst time. It's not like your sick and pregnant wife is feeling completely vulnerable and helpless. Reply 1. My first thought was why not keep the money now and discuss returning it later when OP has their money sorted out, hopefully. But then, why is the house a mess? I assume if OP's wife is working and he is not, and she has pregnancy difficulties, then he should be the primary homemaker, keeping everything clean and in order. Maybe the sister-in-law sees that he is relying on his wife to work, cook, clean, and carry a child, while it seems there is not enough effort on his side. Reply 2. The wife isn't working, but she has HG. It basically chains you to the toilet for months because you can't stop vomiting long enough to even leave the bathroom, really. I had it with both of my pregnancies, and I ended up sleeping on the bathroom floor half the time. My husband worked, and his sisters would come over and tidy up and cook meals, try to keep me hydrated, take me to the hospital for IV fluids when necessary, because any movement would send me barfing again. There is medication for it, but if you can't keep the pill down long enough for it to kick in, it's useless. Response 7. You're the a-hole. Your pride and ego need to come after your child that you admittedly are struggling to properly get ready for. Grow up. If you feel like a failure because someone else is helping your partner and you, then reflect on that and do better. No one can make you feel like a failure if you don't already feel like one yourself. Reply 1. Almost a 10-year age gap, and she's been the sole earner in their relationship. For 2 years, the man has been home doing nothing, and she's been pregnant for 5 months, carrying the burden by herself. Jesus Christ. Response 8. You're the a-hole. Pride won't feed a baby or pay the bills. Refusing help in a crisis does not make you a better man, just a stubborn one. Instead, work on your relationship with your sister-in-law. It's the health of your family that matters most here, not your ego. Response 9. You're the a-hole. You are struggling. Returning everything for your baby, not you, would only be out of spite and to soothe your ego. It's not about you anymore. How long have you been out of work that you burned through your savings and are living on credit cards? If I were in your position, I'd be applying to every business in town or doing DoorDash or something until the other job starts up. And even beyond that, to dig yourself out of this hole. Your sister-in-law isn't showing off. She's trying to help her sister and the baby. Reply 1. This guy seems like the type to turn down jobs that are seen beneath him because it's more comfortable to sit on the couch every day and blame somebody else for his failures. He hasn't worked in 2 years, but the house is a mess and his wife is sick. That tells me everything I need to know. Reply 2. Yup, I hope the sister has made the offer to the wife that she can move out and move in with her sooner or later. Response 10. Bro, what the hell are you doing till March? Why is the house filthy if you're home all day? You just got a damn life preserver, and you'd rather drown because you are too proud to use it. You're the a-hole, and that house should be damn spotless if it's just you two right now and you don't work. and you should be doing any basic-ass job to make some money so you don't keep racking up credit cards. Reply 1. What's worse is by his own comments, this wasn't a recent thing. He has been unemployed for 2 years while his wife worked full-time. Sounds like she also did all the housekeeping too. That poor woman. Response 11. Quit it. You're the a-hole. What a generous and caring thing your sister-in-law did. She wasn't asked to do that. She did it because she wanted to. She may not love you, but she sure as heck loves her sister. You need to thank your sister-in-law. Also, the only person who can make you feel like a loser is you. You have control of your own thoughts and feelings, therefore you choose how you feel. Why didn't you apply for unemployment benefits? Did you get fired? If you get laid off downsized, you qualify for unemployment. If you get fired, you don't. So which is it? Reply 1. He lost his job 2 years ago and hasn't worked since because of mental health. Response 12. You're the a-hole. Knock it off. Everybody falls down occasionally. It is not the end of the world. Swallow your pride and shut the heck up for the sake of your wife, your kid, your credit card debt, and your future. Reply 1. He lost his job 2 years ago. Wife needs to run. Response 13. You're the a-hole. If you demand she sends it all back, you are demonstrating you are a bad husband and ungrateful a-hole. Response 14. You're the a-hole, and you are a bad husband and father. You would rather your wife and baby suffer than to allow another person to provide where you have failed to. She isn't manipulating your wife into thinking you're a bad husband. You've done that all on your own by being a bad husband. Also, your wife is right. She isn't trying to make you look like a failure. You are a failure. If another person is having to provide for your family, then you failed. Everyone fails. You get back up and try again. You don't just quit and childishly take food out of your wife and baby's mouths. Response 15. You're acting like a child. You're the a-hole. Don't continue to let your ego get in the way of your gratitude. Reply 1. You're the a-hole. Your wife and future child's very lives and safety are far more important than your ego and hurt feelings. Be glad your wife has people who love her so much. If you feel you're failing, it's not because of your sister-in-law. Maybe it's time to grow up a bit. Thank your sister-in-law after you apologize, and apologize to your wife. Response 16. You're the a-hole. You are completely failing to think of anything but your own masculinity in being a provider. Your pregnant wife has what could be a very serious condition and may have to deliver early, yet you are more concerned about how your reputation may suffer. It may take a long time to catch up financially, which happens to the best of us, but you need to put your ego aside and think of your wife and unborn child. Response 17. You're the a-hole. I have a feeling that sister-in-law would not have been so scathing in her criticism of you if you had spent some of your free time, unemployed remember, and kept the house clean. Wait till you are bringing in a salary before you throw your sister-in-law's largesse in her face. Reply 1. I have a feeling that his being unemployed for 2 years might have something to do with why my sister-in-law dislikes him so much. Response 18. You're the a-hole. She's not rubbing anything in your face. She's reasonably upset. Her Baal isn't doing more to support her sister. They're both right about you. You're a bad husband for letting your ego get in your own way. You feel like a failure because you have, in fact, failed your wife and kid. Thank your sister-in-law for her incredible generosity and do better. I'm guessing there's a reason she keeps you at arm's length and you're not telling us to try and make yourself look better. Response 19. Can you get over your big puffed up male ego and maybe say thank you for the help? No wonder her sister doesn't like you if this is how you respond to gifts. Of course, your wife doesn't have to return any of it. You need to get over yourself and count your blessings. Obviously, in this instance, you have been unable to provide. That in itself doesn't make you a bad husband. What makes you a bad husband is not wanting your wife to have a car because your fragile ego got bruised. I hope you learned from this experience. You're the a-hole. Response 20. You're the a-hole. You want her to live without a car and have her baby born without any of the baby things she'll need because you resent the sister? If your attitude didn't suck, this situation would not be this way. Try showing some appreciation for your sister-in-law, if only for her generosity and love for your wife, whom you presumably love too. Stop feeling sorry for yourself for your job loss and start thinking about what you need to do to make sure everyone is happy and comfortable. And if your sister-in-law is willing to help, show some gratitude, even though she's obviously not doing it for you. Response 21. You're the a-hole. You need to get over your pride. and start focusing on your child. The situation you and your wife are currently in is not uncommon, but someone stepping in and throwing you a lifeline like your sister-in-law did is rare. Response 22. Big, you're the a-hole. I saw OP's comments where he said his wife has always earned more than him, and he hasn't worked for 2 years, and that they've been using his wife's savings because he didn't have any of his own. I was under the impression that he recently lost his job, but nope. Obviously, the sister isn't going to like you because she sees you as a grown man who is mooching off her sister. To top it off, now she's pregnant and had to quit her job and sell her car. How are you comfortable not working and living off your wife for the majority of your relationship? Your wife is still in her mid-20s and has been supporting you since she was 21. Put your pride aside and accept the help because it's not about you anymore. It's about making sure your baby has a decent life. I know life throws us curveballs, but seriously, do better. Response 23. You're the a-hole. Dude, take it on the chin. You're in a serious dilemma and need assistance. You should have talked to your sister-in-law a long time ago and requested help. Returning everything while you still can't deliver anything yourself is only helping your ego. Reminds me of when Walter didn't take the job or financial assistance in Breaking Bad. Reply 1. You don't sit around with a pregnant wife, getting deeper into debt, waiting for the right job to come along. You should have been out getting a job the next day, even at a temp agency to fill in until your next job starts. If your wife was smart, she'd take her sister up on the offer to move in with her, at least until you get yourself together and can provide for her. It's not like she can work in her condition. She has an excuse, but OP doesn't. Response 24. You're the a-hole. Your pride is wounded, and you want to deprive your wife and kid of necessities, all because of it? Also, you don't have to accept anything. Nobody gave anything to you. Her sister gave it to her and her baby. If I saw my sister in that state and I had the money, you can bet I would buy her all of that and more. And she doesn't have any problems with her husband, but she knows she will always have a home with me. But you don't have any right to tell her what to do with her stuff and to think she is showing off just because she bought things for her sister and nibbling. I can see perfectly well why she doesn't like you, and you have a very low concept of your wife if you think that some gifts would be enough to convince her to abandon you. Reply 1. In fact, if my sister was married to someone who put his pride before the well-being of his son and pregnant wife, and who had this tantrum when she was pregnant, I would also advise her to dump his ass. She deserves someone better. Response 25. If this isn't a troll, my heart breaks for that poor woman and baby. You're the a-hole. Are you jealous of the sister? Sounds like you are. It also sounds like you are, in fact, failing. You want your ego stroked and it shows. If you're as bad off as it sounds, it would be utterly stupid to make her return these things. You should be thanking your sister-in-law for stepping up since you apparently haven't. You're punishing your wife and unborn child for your shortcomings. Shame on you. With all due respect, you need to remove your head from your behind and be the partner and STB father your wife and child both need and deserve. Response 26. You're the a-hole. Failure as a man, husband, and father. Protect your wombs, ladies. Men like this will ruin your life and the lives of your future children. When my husband lost his job, he worked 3 jobs to ensure we didn't go without. Losing your job isn't an excuse to live off your credit cards and drain your savings while there is a baby on the way. Response 27. You're the a-hole. You have a sick wife and a baby on the way. How high is the price you are expecting them to pay for your pride? Treat it as a loan, keep track of what is spent, and pay it back. But your wife and baby need this money now. You are having a rough time, and that is so hard on you. You are trying your best, but until your job starts, you are in desperate need. This money can tide you over until then. Yes, it comes with strings and abuse. Your sister-in-law sounds like one, but she is also worried about her sister and niece. Your wife is staying loyal to you. Don't force her to choose between you and what she needs for her baby. Your hurt feelings are totally warranted, but a luxury you can't afford at the moment. But also, if you are a failure, your wife is equally a failure, unless you lost your job due to bad behavior. The job market stinks at the moment, and if laid off, you are about as responsible for that as your wife is for being ill and unable to help out. Reply 1. He's been unemployed for 2 years. He could have found any job to help with the bills instead of racking up debt, draining her savings, and making her sell her car. Response 28. You're the a-hole. You want your wife to return things that she and the baby need because it hurts your fragile ego that you failed to provide those things. Instead, you should be grateful to the sister-in-law and use this as motivation to do what you can to provide for your family going forward. You were drowning, and she threw your family a lifeline. Make a goal of trying to make enough money that one day you can pay back your sister-in-law, even if you don't, but make that the goal. Response 29. You're the a-hole. Look, someone had to step up, and even though no fault of your own, you can't right now. She is helping out your family during this dire time, as is what family is apt to do. Lucky for you all. Obviously, your pride is getting in the way, which is more important, your family's well-being or your pride. Swallow the pride, accept the help, and begin working on a plan to pay her back. That is what you should be focusing on, not yourself. Reply 1. OP lost his job 2 years ago and is only just now finding a job. Also, the house is a mess. But why? OP isn't sick, pregnant, or otherwise occupied. I have to wonder what he brings to the table. Response 30. Your wife is expecting, can't work, and you have a job lined up for March? Okay, so where's the money for the baby supposed to come from? You have 23 days left in February. You're going to run up those credit cards. You're going to use that job to hopefully pay bills, including the credit cards. Newsflash, buddy, a kid isn't $20 a week to care for. When bills and past balances are paid, how much will you actually have left for the baby? You're the a-hole. Her sister just made sure the baby is going to be cared for, and instead of being relieved, your baby is cared for. You're on Reddit complaining. Maybe the sister-in-law has a point.